All right. Welcome, swing shifters, and thank you for supporting me throughout this process here. Sunday Night Live. Yep. And you must be wondering, I was like, why is he doing so late? Well, I got a lot of things going on. Hopefully, this reaches you at some point that when you're looking through YouTube for information on AMP, that my videos come up. And I have all the info for you military maintainers separating. Okay. So my beard is helping me stay warm out here these days. All right, guys. So something that um, that usually when you get your AMP is it's kind of like it accelerates, especially if you're still in the military. And what do I mean by that? What I mean by that is things can start moving fast. Now you can start doing your job applications. You can start telling people you get your AMP. All these jobs have been on hold that really want to hire you. Start wanting to accelerate you, right? And so you gotta, and then you still gotta out process on top of that, right? I always say, it's not my fault if you start getting bombarded all left and right on LinkedIn. And I would say, once you get your AMP, even if it's a temporary one, add that onto your AMP or sorry, your LinkedIn. All right. And then just watch everything, just fireworks start happening. Okay. So they think, you get your AMP and that's the finish line, and it's just the beginning, right? It's actually just your entry badge and everything changes after that certification, as I mentioned. It allows you to not only get certain opportunities, but also gets you to learn about new airframe. So now, does AMP give you options? Oh yeah, it does. But does it? Uh, do I know people who haven't, landed a job yet? And no, sometimes that's not the case because it's just sometimes they will live in a weird, not a weird, it's just not a very, a location where there's a lot of aviation. And they don't have to just stick to aviation there. There could be elevator technicians, technicians can be theme parks. It could be a lot of maintenance, blue collar work. That it doesn't have to be aviation maintenance. And but yeah, sometimes guys have, and they don't want to move. They want to stay in that area, and it's like, there's opportunities out there for them, and they feel like these jobs don't align with their passion. They don't align with their values, and that's okay. You'll eventually find those. Okay, but like I said, the job offers will increase. If you post it on LinkedIn, recruiters start outreaching a lot more, and then you're gonna be having choices for the first time. So the big change isn't the pay; it's just you know your position, your leverage, and remember, your first job is not gonna be your forever home. You can work at airlines that mm, if you live in that area, you can work with at regional airlines. Sometimes these guys pay from 35 and up to $40 an hour. And, that's a great step into the major airlines, right? There's also going to be MROs where they'll love to have you. And depending on which one you go to, going to pay really well, have a good work life, very scheduled, busy schedule. There's also business aviation, which is very enticing because these guys, yeah, some of them may have late nights, but it's not like the airlines where you get stuck just doing nights all the time. And these guys, it's a little more scheduled. You got defense contractors like Lockheed, Boeing, who are looking for AMPs. You have manufacturers like Airbus out in Alabama looking for, technicians. Or you got the general aviation. Those guys are all over the place. And, these guys got to compete with major airlines. So, but if you like to work for that mom and pop shop, little Cessna 150s or 172s, and that's your spot right there. And sometimes these small operations, like an MRO, it can be a huge step into a leadership role. Most likely get into leadership role. So don't think of it as, and if you have to start as being a technician, hey, that's okay. Learn the job, learn the position, learn the operation, and then move on. That's the biggest, I would say, is the biggest transition from people who were leaders and they don't get a leadership job. And the normal path, the conventional path, which from what I understand, is you gotta learn the operation first, and they start you off at the bottom. As far as pay, it just depends what you do. I've seen some general aviation jobs that start off at $32 an hour because they're trying to compete with the airlines, and then it can be as high as I've seen starting off $40 an hour. I've also seen $50,000 bonuses, on top of 30 something dollar. That was a couple of years ago. So there's tons of opportunities for you guys who are military maintainers. And if you are lucky, or if that is luck to you, or something that you had a ambition to work for the major airlines, most likely you're going to be working at nighttime and staying there for a couple of years as you gain seniority and then move over to the day shift stuff. All right. And but that just depends where you work out, right? So if you work at major airlines, that's what's going to happen. If you work at business aviation, that's less likely going to happen, or MROs and things like that. It just depends where you're going to work, and having that work life balance that you would like to have. And there's tons of business aviation AOGs traveling all over the place. It's just part of the job. So every schedule has a trade off, and the difference is now you get to choose, right? So research your what type of job you want to get into, what kind of airframes you want to work into, kind of schedule. If the airlines doesn't give you day shift, then you have to change. You have to figure out if you want to take that option or not. Get that good pay, but then on top of that, you know, you'll be working in the graveyard like I am. So, um, yeah, just choose, and you can always try it out. And with an A&P, you can get into something different. And if you get into MROs, general aviation, it might be a quick path into uh, doing some leadership stuff, being a manager right away. And if you watch any of my Adam Beal's interview, they liked, I want to say it was like not even aviation, but it was some kind of manufacturing company. And they really liked his leadership uh, credentials. So they hired him on as a manager, and he did really well there. And then because he got that leadership, checked off in the civilian side, he went on to aviation, working for NetJets, something like that, Flex Jets, something like that, one of those. to be in a little role. So he got lucky with that. And, that's a path you can take. It doesn't have to always be aviation. So this is how as a military maintainer, you can accelerate much faster in the civilian world because you already have discipline. You have high expectations for yourself, and you have a certain process you think, and you've been exposed to leadership and comfort with responsibility. All these things make you a force to be reckoned in the civilian world compared to, especially like a young guy who just probably just turned 21, 22 years old, and you're a seasoned guy, and all you're doing is just learning the ropes of a civilian operation. Once you got that down in a year or two, you're going to be moving up pretty quick. And I see that quite often where they just want you to learn the operation and then you're moving up. And the military experience is giving you those tools of leadership and just staying calm under pressure. So the habits that you made to keep aircraft flying in the military now accelerates in your next career. So just take your time and don't um, don't be so eager to jump in or be upset. Like if things are not rolling right away, don't stress yourself out over because you didn't get a leadership role. And a lot of guys want to get into that role, and it's and it makes sense. There's toss somebody in there with no experience in civilian world. In the civilian side. So just learn the ropes and then move on because you're gonna get there fast. And most likely you're gonna fall and land into something you're gonna like. I heard a lot of guys getting leadership roles the other day in 2020. What is it, 2026 now? 3 years. This guy's the director of maintenance at a major corporation. Working with us, and then because of his just strong work ethic, he got there pretty fast. So for the long term, take your time. Do what you're gonna do, as in what they ask you to do as far as that career ladder. Now, and then that's if it's something you aspire to do. So stack those skills. If you are mobile, do it. If you can, get a certain position at a certain location, do it. And your income is going to grow over time. As it increases so much and so fast. So there is a path. It's not just your one-time win. Your military is not who defines you. It was a part of you. It taught you great skills, and it's time to use those skills into the civilian world and contributing back into, even like the young guys who are coming up. You know, uh, inspire them and lead them in the right direction of how to be, a person with great work ethic who can stay calm under pressure. They don't have to join the military long, but as long as you're that example, it'll be great. So, nothing stops at your AMP. It's just the beginning. And they always say that license is a license to learn. So, it, don't think that that's it. It's just like the degree, like a degree, right? So you get your degree, but now you gotta put in the work. And same thing with the AMP. Now it's time to put in the work. If you felt this was super helpful and uh, you need somebody to kind of guide you afterwards, or even get you, some placements, get you connected with people, reach out to me. I can help you out. Or if you're looking to get your AMP, comment below study, and I can reach out to you, send you a link to so that way you can start your own AMP journey. And I'll put it here in the chat. Um, oh, let's go school. There you go. It's in the chat. What's up? Where's the wisdom man? I love it. You're cooking. Thank you. I finished up school. It took 7 months. Took my generals and airframe, my orals and practicals as scheduled for February 10th. Hell yeah. Richard, um, what book are you studying? Are you doing the Jepsons for orals? Um, it's a great book to know some of the questions and answers. This was definitely helpful. Yeah, I'm glad to help, Richard. Let's see. Yeah, the Jepson book. If you don't know yet, a little tip for your orals is meeting with the DME. I would say a lot of people, don't do this part if you don't know them. If you're like in a school or something like that, sometimes people don't know their DME that they're going to go into. So I always recommend going to the school, or not the school, but calling up your DME. If you got some time, meet up with him and just shoot the shit. He's not gonna give you the answers. Don't ask for answers. I think that's a felony. And just just see how he rolls. See what you can ask him. Say what's your expectations on this test. Just ask him questions. He'll be open to it. They should be open. I have the AUC Aviation Mechanic or on practical book. I have the Preston too. I know my DME is here at the West Star Aviation. Okay, that's good. That's good. Um, if that's the book he recommends, I I tried that book. I was being a rebel against my DME, failed it, and then I went to the Jepson because he was harping on me about Jepson, and I I would I would take a look into that. To be honest with you, we tested guys from coast to coast, from Virginia to Vegas to Florida to Texas to Arizona and California. Jepson has been numero uno. Um, I don't know why the depression was added on there, but do as long as you're studying, man, that's not a factor. And build your confidence. Oh, tip two: study with another person. It could be your mom, it could be your girlfriend, it could be your sister, it could be somebody. Just be somebody so you can practice getting things out of your head and into coming out your mouth. Okay, that's another big one. Tip number one is get to know your DME. I don't know why I have all these gaps somewhere. Uh, um, get to know your DME. Number two is um, practice, 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 practice. Because what's going to happen is that you're going to be so stressed, and it seems like you're nervous about it, which is reasonable. It's we've done hundreds of guys and guys who stayed up all day, all night to do this, and it's normal that you be a little scared or nervous about it. Not scared, but nervous about it. Okay, that's a normal feeling. And just study with somebody else. Practice on different people too, so that way you get in the habit of saying it out loud. Because what's going to happen is that you can get so nervous that it blocks your memory. But if you practice enough, it's just going to come out as it's like riding a bike. Our Jimmy is cool. He has given us our first month of training. Okay, cool. That's good. Um, I don't know this guy too well. Seems like a awesome DME. He's very helpful. And I love working with DMEs that are helpful. Uh, Not that they give answers or nothing like that, at least not me, at least. But I would always recommend do not take the easy way out. Do your test, do it right. Don't take a handout. I guess if he's like, hey, you know, I'm just gonna pencil whip this. Don't do it, because what's gonna happen when if an investigation got, if an investigation happened and they find out that he just pencil whipped it with yours, or you just happen to be a student, that you have to retest. So don't let it happen that way, and uh, just take it normal. Okay. Um, let's see. Okay, I will do it that way. Work with a partner. Yeah, it could be your mom, because the only thing you really, I'm not saying it has to be your mom. It could be anybody. It could be your girlfriend. Only reason is because it's just you practicing. It's just they can read the question and you answer it, right? And of course, just like a flashcard almost. Um, it's really just a practice right here. You taking it out of your mind, out of your brain, and saying it out loud. Okay. And okay, we are in Colorado, Grand Junction, West Star. I made a Quizlet with 140. Oh, you made it? Oh, okay. Those are. I'm pretty sure there was plenty of that. But yeah, guys, there's Quizlets out there. Go to Quizlet, you find Jepson, and then they have already been made, so you don't spend a lot of time on that. Yeah, go on with concepts that maybe you got stuck on from your writtens. They should tell you which ones you missed. But yeah, the flashcard style works. All that works, man. Just practice, 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 practice is a big one for you there, Richard. How they recommend is practice. And you shouldn't be, it seems like all the key ingredients for you to be successful is there. And the only thing you got to do is just study. Okay. Yep. Yes, sir. Doing great. That's awesome. But yeah, just practice, practice all the subjects, all the thing. And then, um, yeah, and you'll be successful. It's just super simple. We like to complicate things, but no need to. Just study. Study those questions and those answers. Recognize them. Practice it coming out of your brain to your mouth, and that's it. Well, thanks everybody for uh, yeah, yes sir, study and pulling chalks. Yeah, of course. And I'll be doing this every night. Um, Trying to find a sweet time for everybody to come on, and hopefully I can help. Get some rest. Have a good night. Pulling chalks.